Oh, yeah, baby. 1-800-449-8255. The Sharkadoodle-Doo Show. Right now, tonight on, I guess it's Wednesday night, October 18, 2023, getting closer and closer to being homeless Sharky at age 58. I keep getting the same speech everywhere. I've got legs that are trashed from being a swimming pool guy for 25, 30 years, since 1992 till 2019. Legs that cramp up, bad right knee, bad left knee. Back of my left knee had cancer surgery where they removed a golf ball sized tumor on the back of my left leg. So my legs are jacked and I limp like crazy when I walk. 58 years old and everywhere is like, you got to go, you got to move. My wife's family, like, when you get money, move, use it to move. Or my nephew, like, move, like, it's like, think about it. It's weird, dude, how the world doesn't care about Clark the Shark at 1-800-449-8255. I've always wondered this ever since I was 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 years old. And I've grown to sort of accept that the world cares about only the tall and good looking, or just the good looking, or something like that. But tonight, I'm going to care, you guys, about the Kink Controversy 1966. That's right, you guys have done it. You've pushed me to review the final Kinks album, where they sounded like the early Kinks completely. The next album after this, of course, would be 1966, Face to Face, where the Kinks become, I don't want to say the new Kinks, but they become that Kinks that did, the Village Green and Something Else and Arthur and Lola, with Face to Face 1966. What an album. And I reviewed that one long ago. But the Kink Controversy, November 1965, to me, I think of this as 1966 for some reason, like Face to Face. But this is definitely an earlier Kinks album. It's got a lot of elements of the 1964-65 Kinks, little ditty songs that are, not super developed yet, but are getting there slowly but surely. And there's great songs all over this. Is it as good as Face to Face, the album after it? It's apples to oranges, you guys. I would say no, but that's irrelevant. This album is really good for its time. I don't think it's the best album that the Kinks could have done in 1965. Released November 26, 1965, almost 1966. And of course, 1966 is that great year for rock music, where in America there were all these bands and garages. It was kind of the first wave of punk rock, where you just had all these bands in Texas and Los Angeles and New York, Detroit, everywhere, Seattle, London, going back into the garage, and with these underproduced songs that sounded killer. They weren't really polished, and yet they were in some newfangled way in 1966. I love that garage 1966 scene. Of course, the Music Machine, the Standells, the Haunted, and all that. It was probably all began by, Van Morrison and them. But this band here, the Kinks, and this album, the Kink Controversy, there's definitely some ideas here, little bluesy ditties that those 1966 bands, both in America and England and everywhere, they loved stuff like The Who, but they certainly loved the Kinks, you guys. Probably more than maybe the Rolling Stones, or certainly more than the Beatles. I think when you're talking about raw rock and roll, the Stones are pretty darn good at that, you guys. But the Who and the Kinks, it could be because they both were working with Shel Talmy, the amazing producer who would get a great sound out of both the Who and the Kinks. And the thing about it is 1960, I got to also tell you about Shel Talmy, in that he ripped off the Who, you guys, really bad with a contract. And I think he probably ripped off the Kinks too with a contract. So Shel Talmy was a great producer. He'd get a great sound, but he wasn't the greatest human being. He paid the bands like nothing. But who knows, maybe in his defense, me, Clark the Shark, the way I market my band on the internet, I realize how expensive it is on the internet to market your band and get your songs heard. Even if it costs you $5 here, $10 there, it really adds up. And I'm sure back in the 60s, Shel Talmy would say, the same is true when he, with the Kinks and the Who. But, as far as I know, Shel Talmy's just a producer. He's not the marketing guy at the label. So, Decca Records or whoever, had the Who was probably doing the marketing, not Shel Talmy. But his contract was set up where the Who literally had to get out of it, and go with Kit Lambert and, the Reaction label they created with Substitute and all that. And I'm sure the Kinks had their troubles with Shel Talmy too. I don't know for sure. I just imagine that they did. But this album, regardless, is important, you guys. The Shel Talmy produced on Pi Records. I love Pi Records, you guys. What do I know? It probably ripped off the Kinks too, for all I know. But this album, they call it transitional, and I would say both this one and Face to Face are transitional, you guys, because on Something Else, 1967, the Who are that mature, older, wiser band suddenly. And these two albums, they're kind of feeling their way, trying to get there. And, by the time they get to all those other great albums, The Village Green, Arthur, Lola, then they become just this incredible band. And unfortunately, the audience, the record buying audience, didn't really appreciate the Kinks back in the 60s enough. I'm sure there were people buying their music, but it should have been a lot more. Their music was really great. Now, the Kinks were banned from America by the I think it was the Federation of Musicians in America or something like that, because, Ray and Dave probably, got in some kind of fight backstage or something. And I don't know exactly what happened, but apparently Ray, who isn't wild about unions, as we know, he must have pissed off some union guys, backstage. And the Kinks were banned from ever playing in America, basically from 1965, I think, late 65, until like 1970, you guys, for 4 or 5 years. It was a long time that they played. They didn't play Monterey Pop. They didn't play Woodstock. These gigs would have helped the Kinks. and also a lot of other gigs they could have played in America too. Also, you guys, being banned in America hurts the Kinks to this very day, because the Kinks really didn't make it big until the 1980s. You know, when they were putting out, you know, Destroyer and all those albums. You know, Give the People What They Want and all that stuff. That's when the Kinks hit it big. And then by the time they did, they were old guys, you know. In the late 60s and 70s, you know, the Kinks were struggling, you know, until that late 70s period where they started really making some great songs and albums. In my opinion, they did all along, you guys. But, you know, when you're banned from playing live for 4 or 5 years, it will destroy your band. And it destroyed the Kinks, you guys. Today, these guys should be right there with the Rolling Stones, the Who, Zeppelin, and the Beatles. And they are to a degree, but they really aren't in the eyes of too many, you guys. Kind of the same way Blue Oyster Cult isn't, you know, held with the esteem that they deserve. The Kinks get that too, you guys, and they get it to this very day in 2023. Now, the music here, the Shell Talmy produced songs. Of course, side one with Milk Cow Blues, awesome way to start it out, you guys. And Ring the Bells, probably my favorite song on the whole album, you know. A very short little song, but Ray is giving you a glimpse with Ring the Bells of what is going to happen very soon on, you know, Something Else and, you know, Face to Face. Ring the Bells with the little, you know, nylon guitar is killer. And, you know, Gotta Get the First Plane Home, killer. Like Milk Cow Blues. Love it. When I See That Girl of Mine, it's a little pop ditty. Kind of underproduced. I'm surprised Shell Talmy didn't make that rock more. It's kind of cool, though. I like it. And the Dave Davies, I Am Free, is in 6/8, 3/4. You know me, Clark the Shark. I love 6/8 and 3/4. It's a bluesy little cool tune, I Am Free. And Dave Davies is giving you a little glimpse there of the type of music he's going to do soon. Till the end of the day, of course, a Kinks classic right there with all the greatest songs of the Kinks. And it's on this album right here, you guys. This incredible album, The KINKS KontrOVERSY, 1965. Not 66, but it sounds to me like a 1966 album. The World Keeps Going Round is awesome, you guys. And I think The Who borrowed that for Roto Sound Strings. I think so. Listen to the two. They are very similar. I love I'm on an Island, killer. And of course, Where Have All the Good Times Gone? Awesome. You know, the David Bowie version, killer. And we all know the Van Halen version is pretty fucking killer. Where Have All the Good Times Gone? The Kinks probably have the worst version of that song. All the other bands that copy it and cover it do it justice, you guys. But the Kinks version is still killer, you know, like the Who Substitute, you know, from about the same time. Killer. It's Too Late. Killer, dude. I love these last three songs. What's in Store for Me? And You Can't Win. The final track on the album, I wish could have been a little better, you know, because I hear a little killer little chorus, you know, and verse thing happening that could have been developed more. Right here on the Clark the Shark Show, I kind of wish the Kinks would have called me way back in the day so I could have produced and mixed this album instead of Shell Talmy, and even given the Kinks a better deal where they would have made more money. I certainly would have done the Who some justice too, unlike the rough justice of shall tell me, you guys, right here on the Clark the Shark Show from the fabulous golden EIB Sharkerphone. It's not a microphone, you guys. It's a not gold-plated Sharkerphone, and it's not broadcasting here on the Excellence in Shark Casting Network. It's Shark Casting, you guys, because when I'm talking about the kink controversy, you guys, you know, this cover I've seen, you guys, more than the other cover in my day. The kink controversy. These guys, these geniuses who pretty much invented everything: heavy metal, punk rock, new wave, indie, electronic drumming music. Dude, the Kinks did it all, you guys. I'm not kidding. And of course, you know, the reason why Sharky reviews are so good, you know, they're excellent because of, I do my homework, you guys. I listen to every album, and you know, I am a person with a large vinyl collection. So, you know, going back to Torrance, Redondo Beach, and 251 Paseo de Gracia, and when I had to move to San Diego or LA or wherever I moved, my record collection was cannibalized by about 5 or 6 different people around Torrance and Redondo Beach. So I think it's all broken up into 5 segments, but I'm sure there is a vinyl of the Kink Controversy in my collection. I don't remember. I do remember owning this. I don't remember buying it. If I bought it, it was likely at the Rhodium in Torrance. For some reason, had I bought this at Go Boy Records or Zed Records or, you know, Peanut Records in Lomita, I would have remembered, you guys. But I'm not sure where I got the Kink Controversy. I might have even stolen it from this guy that lived around the corner named Pat Carmody in Torrance down by Vista del Parque. I don't know for sure, you guys, though. We're talking 30, 35, 40 years ago. But Milk Cow Blues, once again, solid. Off to a great start, you guys. But ring the bells. You know, I'm doing my homework, you guys, because a lot of you are emailing and saying, Sharky, you're just perusing. It's not true, you guys. I know these records. I grew up with them. And then I'm the guy from the band, you know, the Greenhouse Effect, where nobody cannibalizes 60s, 70s, you know, like I do, even some 80s, you know, and puts it in the music like I do. Ring the Bells, very awesome. One of my favorite Kink songs of all time. Melodic, love the nylon guitar. I think I already told you guys that. And, you know, got to get the first plane, of course, awesome. I love the bluesy tracks 1 and 3, love them. And when I see that girl, you know, if there's a kind of weak song on side 1, it might be this one. Sounds, you know, interesting, kind of poppy. Also a bit of a glimpse into the future of the Kinks here. And the past too, you guys. I had to write that down. I didn't want to fucking forget that shit. And I Am Free, of course, a nice Dave Davies track in 3468. Could have been better. They should have had Sharky produce here, but I was only 1 year old. I may have even just been a mere months. But I like it. Kind of bluesy, weird. That song there, I Am Free. Dave Davies, a glimpse into what's coming from Dave Davies. And let's see, in December, November, whatever, 1965, yeah, I Sharky was like, I don't know, 6, 7 months old when this album came out. Just a baby, you guys. But they were probably playing me the Beatles and the Kinks and the Stones and the Who and in 1965 when I was in diapers, and that's why I'm into the music. Till the End, of course, classic. Awesome. Side 2. World Keeps Going. Oh, what a song, you guys. Awesome. And I always think the Who copied, you know, this song with roto sound strings on The Who Sell Out, 1967. You know, the world keeps going round. And then The Who are like, with roto sound strings. It just has the same ring, you guys. And that's okay, because me, Clark the Shark, I copy shit. I outright rip shit off. I've had emails and threatening letters where they like, hey, that one Greenhouse Effect song, man, sounds like, and then I compare them and they don't sound alike at all, or sometimes they do, or the ones that sound like another song, they're not bothering me for those, you know, or I don't have to get a lawyer, you guys. I'm nearly homeless here. It's got like $30 in the bank or something. I mean, not much, you guys, on SSDI with my problems. I'm on an island, you guys. Acoustic, awesome, uses a very common progression. We hear a lot. Or we heard a lot back in the day, you guys. Killer song here. Even could have been better. Could have used keyboards or more keyboards, you know. If it has keyboards, track 2, I'm on an island. Sharky, that's where I am now, you guys. Good times. Amazing. Kinks classic, of course. There's an awesome Bowie and Van Halen versions, you guys. Hear the Van Halen one, but hear the David Bowie pinups one. I fucking love it. It's Too Late, kind of killer. Little Johnny Cash, Little Elvis. Love it. What's in store for Sharky is maybe, dude, dial 211 and be at Motel 6. Some more. That's about the skill level of Sharkadoodle-Doo. 1-800-449-8255. But thank God I got the Clark the Shark show right here, because what's in store for me tonight is a Kinks review. And this song kind of grooves like the Beatles. She's a woman, but not really. What's in store? It kind of does, you guys. Listen to that song and you'll hear that. And You Can't Win. I like this arrangement, but I would have crafted that catchy part here bigger. I can hear the Who first album, that piano, Nicky Hopkins, you guys. It's all over that song, You Can't Win. And of course, You Can't Win is a song in the later 60s, a different song. Iron Butterfly and a bunch of bands. I think Quicksilver Messenger Service. And that's a killer song. I don't know if that's this You Can't Win. Maybe it is or not. I don't know. But there's something about this Kinks album, you guys. The Kink Controversy, 1965, when Shark was only like 5 or 6 months old. 1965. What an album. What a year. What a band. The Kinks. Love them. Look at these guys back in the day. Just young, strapping. I mean, they're old men now, you guys. They're all like 80. Really old, but once upon a time, long ago, the Kinks, they didn't really rule the world. They never really did. I mean, they had their moments in the 80s and, in 64 and 65, maybe 66. But they got banned from America, by the American Federation of Musicians, or whatever union it was, chose to unfortunately ban the Kinks from playing live. But their songs did play on the radio in that period. I'm surprised that union didn't ban their songs right off the air, too, because as we know, American unions can be pretty nasty like that, you guys. But, the Kinks went over to England and wrote a bunch of killer albums that might not exist today had these guys been cranking out killer gigs in America for 4 or 5 years that they were banned. And, me, Clark the Shark, I feel like me and my music have been banned, rightfully so, like the Kinks, but even worse. I got to pay money to play my songs for all of you out there. And just to reach a few fans or a few people here and there is the best I can do, because I'm 58 years old now and I can't play live gigs, with the bad legs and all. But the Kinks will play forever, you guys. 1-800-449-8255 right here on the fabulous, amazing Clark the Shark Show from the golden EIB Sharkerphone. That's right, the Wolfman Jack on crack, Clark the Shark, where if you are not 100% satisfied with my reviews, I swear to God, you guys, my guarantee to you is I will give you 100% of your shark back. I'm not kidding you guys. I will. You will get it all back. Right here on the Clark the Shark Show, you guys. Be here always, even when I'm gone. Come back to the Sharky Show, where you're reminded of bands like the Kinks and the Kinks Controversy, 1965. But I don't know why I think of this as 1966. It's just got that 1966 sound, but yeah, it's definitely got a 1965 sound too. The Kinks are such innovators. So many bands wanted to be like the Kinks. And I would say bands today in the indie scene, throughout the history of music, even more than the Rolling Stones, the Who, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, the Doors, there's something that the Kinks had back in the day that no one has. I swear to God, you guys, these guys were special. And of course, they would grow later on to be even more special, even much more incredible, you guys. With Arthur, the Village Green, Lola, Muswell Hillbillies, Preservation 1 and 2, the Green Album, both Green albums, the Blue Album, oh, dude, 1975, that funny, witty, silly album, Star Maker, where the guy changes places with an ordinary man. That's me, Clark the Shark, just an ordinary man like Triumph. You guys, telling you about the Kink Controversy. Go buy this album at Spotify, Amazon, iTunes. If you're just a young person right now in 2023, of course, go and buy this album. Buy every song. Learn about the Kinks. The Kinks are one of the most important bands. And there's a story that goes, the Kinks opened for the Beatles one night, and the crowd was slow hand clapping and booing the Beatles. And we're cheering for the Kinks, you guys. I'm not kidding. It's a true story. That's how good the Kinks were back in, 64, 65. They had more energy on stage than the Beatles. I doubt the Kinks had any energy close to the Who. But that's the only band better or with more energy than the Kinks. I think the Kinks are right there with the Rolling Stones or anybody, and, if they have a weakness, it might be Mick Avery's drumming live isn't super powerful, like Keith Moon. He is a great drummer in the studio, and in general, he is a great drummer, but he might be that sticking problem that held the Kinks down. But of course, an even bigger problem than that was they were banned in America for 4 or 5 years in the 60s. They missed out on Monterey Pop and, Woodstock and all these important gigs they never played. And it hurt their whole career, even to this very day, you guys. You ask many young people today, they don't even know who the Kinks are, but they know who Mick Jagger is. They know who the Who are, and Led Zeppelin and Paul McCartney. But so many people don't know Ray Davies or Dave Davies. And it's a damn shame, you guys. I'm Clark the Shark, right here on the Clark the Shark Show, and you just got the only review of this rockin' guitar atmosphere, garagey, and yet produced killer Kinks album. You're getting the only review that you will ever want, or let's face it, you guys, you will ever need. You are getting it tonight. This review about the Kink Controversy, 1965, the year I was born, Clark the Shark. I hope you buy this album, you guys. And you tell them that Clark the Shark sent you. I'm out of here, people. Peace.